Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the True Life Podcast. I hope everybody's having a beautiful day. Hope the sun is shining. Hope the birds are singing. I hope the wind is at your back. Tommy Carrigan, ladies and gentlemen. Tommy Carrigan. They built their empire on graves, stacked bones into skyscrapers, paved over dreams with dead men's lies, and thought we wouldn't notice. But Tommy Carrigan noticed, and he came swinging. Born with rebellion carved into his marrow, gifted with the fire tongue of his Irish bloodline, Tommy tore through the polite prisons they offered, biology, pharmacy, medicine, and burned their paper chains before they could cuff him. From a crooked rooftop above an old garage, he grabbed a mic like a molotov, sprayed truth like graffiti across the walls of a world rotting from the inside out. They banned him, erased him, shut the doors, and blacked out the windows. But you can't bury a storm. You can't muzzle a mind that games across star systems and sees high rises as tombstones scratched out of deaf sky. Tommy is a cracked mirror, a mad prophet, a workhorse rebel dragging broken truths through barbed wire and throwing them bleeding at your feet. He wears grief like armor, his brother's ghost stitched to his chest like a battle flag, a promise that from ruin, he'll raise something fierce enough to matter. This isn't a show, it's a jailbreak. It's a fistfight in the graveyard of dead ideas. Welcome to Tommy Carrigan, where every word is a brick through the stained glass illusions, and the walls of the old world are coming down, spray painted, blood smeared, and loud. Tommy Carrigan, thank you so much for being here, my friend. How are you?
I'm gonna clip that and send it to the guy that I've had a producer for all of like a month. I'm gonna send that to him. That's the best introduction. People always ask me like, "What's your background?" I'm like, "I do a podcast." Like, but before that, I was like, college. I have no idea how to. That's the best like hype up I've ever had. That's probably like the best introduction I've ever had. Legit.
That's how I see you, man.
I'm gonna use it. Yeah, no, I'm gonna literally gonna send it to my guy. That's fucking awesome. I appreciate that, dude.
Brother, yeah, man, I'm stoked on what you do, man. And like I've been listening to you for a long time, man. I was a UPS driver for 25 years, and when I came across your podcast, I was like, this fucking guy gets it, man. But more than that, like, I love the fact that you have walked away from the ideas that society told you should be. And you did it at a young age. You did it at a pivotal age in college. You're like, fuck, this isn't for me. I can't do it, man. Like, that takes a lot of guts. But then moving forward, you got this channel on YouTube. You're crushing. You come out against COVID and the censors. Everybody shuts you down, man. Like, right, yeah, just blown up, man. Same thing on X, man. You start speaking your mind. And guess what? These people start clamming you down, man. I want to know, what have you learned by that? Like, what have you figured out by speaking truth to power at a young age, regardless of what the perceived consequences might be?
Yeah, I mean, to step away from, in college and do that. I mean, that was December 2013 when I decided not to go to med school. I didn't start the podcast till December 2019. So that was like 6 years of really kind of like losing all of my friends, like really everything, unemployed. I mean, and then, the whole trial with my brother. But so when I start like screaming about the podcast, it's not that it's 5 years old. It took 6 years to get to the point where I started it. And then this is like the New Testament. I'm like, there's a whole background story, but everyone has their own fucking woe is me, not important. To answer your question, what I've learned really through a baptism by fire, you can't give you really can't, and you will care, but you can't. It's okay to say like every day I try to like say something out loud that I'm grateful for, and some days I really don't mean it, but I still say it just to say it. Like a lot of days I actually do pretty, like anything you work at it, you get better at it. I'm like, oh, I'm thankful for this, and then sometimes like yesterday I was kind of feeling flat, and I was just like, thank you that I'm not paralyzed. I was like, how great is it to like walk around? I'm like, that would suck to not be able to walk. I'm like, thanks God, like that's a real one. So stuff like that, so to do better at whatever it is that you want to do, to know what you're going to do, you have to, it's my point is the point of me saying that is, and sometimes I don't mean it. Sometimes I'm like, thank you for a warm bed. I don't actually give a fuck. I'm not actually grateful, but I'm like, just do it every day. Do it every day. So a lot of days you cannot care what people think. Some days you're really going to care, but you still have to tell yourself, I don't care, because it's a good process to go through. So the point of all of this is to say, if you know it's true, if you know what you're doing is true, and that sometimes you really do have to gauge it. You're like, you don't like, I follow a lot of parody accounts on Twitter because they're so great at how angry they get people. Like there's one that there's a guy that like parodies Ed Krasenstein, who's just like a bleeding heart leftist, anti-Trump, and he comments on everything. So like, whenever there's like a racial crime, he's always like, this wasn't as bad. White people kind of deserve it, and people go insane in the comments. And like every once in a while, you'll see someone come back and go, I didn't know this was a parody account. Like, salute, sir. And so my point is you got to first make sure that you are going into something where martyrdom is worth it. You don't want to go out of parody. So like, you do have to gauge something. And if you really do know, and for me, it was going up the chain of command and like eventually finding the doctor that invented the fucking vaccine. And I'm like, this guy says it's not good to take and that the censorship is immoral. That's like your verification. You go, okay, it's not a parody account. It's worth kind of quote unquote dying for. Just take that example and apply it to really anything. And that, if you know it's right, you just have to do it. And I know that's like such a cheesy, simplistic, just do it. But I mean, really, just do it. And you're probably going to get banned. Most people are probably going to start to hate you. There's going to be that little voice in the back of your head that goes, man, you didn't even have to go along with COVID. What if you just didn't cover it? That's not technically condoning it. But you still know that's dishonest to yourself. And it's always terrifying. And I should clarify, everything I'm saying right now is in hindsight. Like when it's happening, up until this day, April 28th, 2025, just sitting outside meditating, I'm still just like, fuck, how am I going to fucking make this thing work? Like, it is every day. And then I always, when I can slow my mind down and just try to stop thinking and just kind of observe, every year, I always tell myself, if I had gone back 1 year ago today and just told myself everything that would happen over the next 12 months, I would not have fucking believed it in terms of growth, in terms of good, in terms of personal strength. And it's been that way every year since I started the podcast. And then every year I go, but last year was different. This upcoming year, I'm fucked. And then I get to the second one and I go, okay, well, the last 2 years have been a pretty insane roller coaster of miracles. But I'm truly fucked now. The third year, you're like, wow, 3 straight years of just God's bounty. Unfortunately, I'm done for. 4 years, 5, and even now, I'm like, even as I'm saying this, the irony is lost on me that I really do, like, I couldn't pass a lie detector test if I told you everything's going to work out. I'd say I don't really fucking, I'm going to keep trying. I'm not going to give up. But no, I mean, the last 5 years have been a fluke. Now I'm fucked. And you and I will talk in a year. And I'll be like, man, dude, the last year is insane. This happened. This person introduced me to that person, which led to this. Now this is working. You're going to be like, so are you feeling better about the show? I'll be like, no, it's over. It's done for. It's correct. So very long-winded answer is like, do your verification. Make sure it's not a parody account. If it's worth martyring yourself for, do it. Don't seek out shit to martyr. That's stupid. That's attention grabbing. But if you come across the lines of something, you know it's wrong. And man, if it is your job, like you and I, we do media. If you're delivering pizza, it's fine. You don't need to like die on the hill of COVID. I get it. You probably need the job. Like that's you don't need to interview Dr. Malone. Like you're delivering door. That's fine, dude. Do your thing. But if you're in what you and I are doing, and you look around, and you see other people not doing it, you know it's wrong. You do know it's wrong. And you can't rely on bigger shows should do it. I don't know anything about him, so I'm not gonna just like talk shit about him. But there was a clip of like Tim Pool that went viral like a year ago, and it's him kind of berating his guest because his guest is like, I actually want to talk about like the VAERS COVID vaccine. And he's like, no, you don't know what it's like. Like, I literally have to like reach out to YouTube every once in a while and be like, is it okay if we put this up? Because if not, I'm going to get banned. And in my mind, I'm like, you've got millions of subscribers.
Yeah.
Now, if I didn't have a show or if I had a show and I wasn't doing the right thing, I shouldn't be able to cast a stone. But I'm like, hey, dude, no. You have to pick up. Oh, woe is you. You have to pick up your phone and talk to your YouTube contact. Do you know how grateful I would be to be on YouTube? Fuck having a contact to not be IP banned. Do you know how much I would have? And if you look at that, and I don't know about you, but when I see that, I feel like, I do kind of feel like a sense of like, gross. Like, grab your nuts. And, so I don't really know how the fuck I answered that whole thing. I was just rambling for like 10 minutes. Do the right thing. Make sure it is the right thing. And it will eventually work out, but you won't believe it'll work out. You will be terrified.
Yeah, it's the only way.
It will work out, and then you'll tell yourself it will never work out. I don't know where I was going with that.
It's beautiful. I think that there's something to be said about willing to be on the front line and speak your mind. Once you start getting into the position where you're worrying about what a censor might say or what is once you start getting to the point where you're worrying about all the exteriors, you sort of lose the plot, and then you start censoring yourself, which is like the worst form of censorship. When you're like, oh, I can't say that. Like, now you've put on these chains on yourself that allow your message to be watered down, and you just become part of the noise instead of the voice on the forefront up there, man. It's really well said, and like, you've lived it, man. You've gone out, you've made the sacrifices, and you've faced the consequences of it too. I got a bunch of questions. Everybody in the chat, I love you guys. Let me just jump into one or two of them right here real fast because people want to hear from Tommy. They say, okay, this one's coming to us from Clint. He says, Tommy, which is harder to carry, your dreams or your doubts?
Dreams.
Why?
Well, because doubts can be nullified by your own evidence. Again, for me, man, I don't know how the fuck this show is going to work. And I go, well, a year ago, I didn't think it was going to work. And I was like, I have to move out of this apartment, probably going to find like a cheaper apartment. This is not going to work. And then like every year there's one of those things, and then it grows. And I can quantifiably too. I can just look at like the Excel spreadsheet and I'm like, views are going up, like, and not linearly. It's everything's going up exponentially. Your doubts will always be there, but it's pretty easy when you can start like, I can doubt, like, what if I run out of water? And it's like, well, I'm looking at this right now, and here's a water bottle. Like, I still doubt it. That's fine. You're allowed to doubt it if it's a form of psychosis or OCD. Like, I have OCD. Okay, sure, but it's right there. Okay, it's right there. I still doubt it. I know you do, but it's right there. Okay, it's right there. Your dreams. There's a part of you, and it's hard because it's not always wrong. Your dreams, you have to balance reality with being pessimistic. Like, I'm like, I'm going to have the biggest podcast in the world. I'm going to fucking make tens of millions of dollars. I want to open a medical school, name it after my brother. I want to do a ton of philanthropy. I also want to have fun and blah, 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 and have a meaningful life and not just have there's no point in making the biggest podcast in the world if you don't do something good at it. Doesn't mean you can't have fun and do silly episodes, but you got to do something. There has to be you have to relieve some suffering somewhere. You go, yeah, I can do that. Is that going to happen this year? Probably not. But that's not being, but then you don't want to go down the road and go, honestly, it's probably never going to fucking work. You're living a dream. You should grow the fuck up and get a real job. You can kind of feel that like stern part of you that it's not always bad to have, because there are a lot of people that are like, I'm the greatest thing ever. And it's like, you're not. And like, you're relying on your parents for money. You're 50. That's immoral. You're making your parents worry. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't go out and try. And hey, you have a YouTube channel. Keep putting out your beats. Keep putting out your flash animations. Keep working at it. Don't completely beat that voice down and say, it's you grow up, be a man, go get you. Okay, well, because then all right. But you do have to kind of keep that dream alive. And it's your default is always to bring it back down to earth and go, you have rent to pay, you have utilities to pay, you got to get food. And it's difficult because it's not like an OCD psychosis where you can actually nullify it entirely. You go, every day you're worried that your water is going to run out, and it's right there. And it's never once run out in your life. You don't know anyone who's ever died from dehydration in your life. It's a first world country. That's something where you can go, okay, it's always wrong. Don't listen to it. Being realistic about your dreams is not always wrong. It's like you do got to supplement it. Maybe you got to go get a part-time job. You can keep doing the podcast. And in time, it does look like it's growing. Keep that dream alive. Stay positive. Don't listen to anybody. But be realistic about paying bills. So because of that, it's very hard to keep the dream alive. And sometimes when I'm like having a really hard time seeing how it will work, I will finally tell myself, kind of like I was saying earlier about being grateful. Sometimes if I don't even believe it, I'll just be like, for the sake of it, like, I have socks. Cool. All right, thanks. Like, sometimes if I really can't see how it will work, and if like the pouty little voice is like, see, fucking work, I will tell myself, I pretend I'm a writer for like a show. And like my boss is like, all right, we need to have a scene where, whatever, the guy gets the girl or his venture capital thing gets funded. And I write like 9 things and I'm like, yeah, these are all the most realistic things. Like, he's probably not going to get the girl. And I just imagine like this boss being like, I understand all of that, but I'm asking you as my employee to write a fucking scene where it works. It's not real. It's Netflix. Do you have a pretty good job here? Am I not pretty cool to you? Can you just write me the fucking scene? I don't care if he finds a lottery ticket. And then you go, for a show, I forgot this isn't real. It's like, make it as real as you can. And I'm like, okay, maybe this happens and they find something in common, or maybe he sits next to the right guy on a plane and turns out he's an investor, and not realistic, but can you see how it works? Tommy, I don't care if you believe it, but I need it in by Friday. And you go, okay, I'll write it, even though I think 9 out of 10 of these are much more realistic. The boss goes, I don't care. Turn in the fucking thing. It's almost Christmas break. Like, let's get out of here. I'm like, oh yeah, what am I doing? I'll write I'll write the thing. I'll do that if I really can't imagine how it works. I'll be like, okay, I can see all the ways it doesn't work. I can see, payments from Rumble stop, or Patreon lowers, or I get banned from more shit, or for whatever reason, my guests just start deciding we don't like Tommy anymore. And I'll be like, yeah, I get all of that. I'll be like, for the sake of just, can you hand in the script? I'll go, what are some existing mechanisms? There is, I do have a bank account or a PayPal, like linked to Rumble, linked to Spotify. I do make money. Well, realistically, if those just scaled up, instead of making $50 a month, if you had a 10x growth, you'd make $500 a month. And it's not like Rogan or something where you've hit a saturation point where you're probably not going to grow 10x. But much smaller things, it's like 10x growth for 1,000 subscriber channel is completely normal. Like, even if you have 100,000 subscribers, like, it's not uncommon to find a channel that has 1 million subscribers. Once you get up to like 10 million, right, 50 million, it's like you're kind of at the apex, but that's no longer a concern of yours. And I'll be like, could it happen that I get 10x? And I'm like, I mean, yeah, it could. It's not real, but could it? Yeah, it could. And what would that? Well, if I grew 100x and I went from $50 a month on Rumble to 5,000, would that pay for all? Yeah, that would fucking pay for my bills and then some. All right, well, let's just write that. And when I look at it that way, I start to go, oh, is that going to happen? Probabilistically, no. Or it will happen in fractions, and it won't happen this year. It will happen over X years. It's like, that's how I try to look at things sometimes. I'll be like, I get it. You don't fucking – I just imagine a boss being like, I don't give a fuck. Like the stories about elves and dragons. None of this shit's real. Can you write the fucking script or you're fired? And just being like, oh, what am I doing? Sorry, yeah. I'm just like, I just imagine like being like, what am I doing? I have to fucking, all right, we're going for drinks. Like, yeah, sorry, end of the script, let's leave. That's how I try. So to answer the question, it is a lot harder because a lot of doubts you can nullify. Or even if they are really, yeah, that did suck, but we're going to work through it. The dreams are harder because you have to keep them pinned down. And there's a lot of realism to that. If you go, no, don't ever limit your dreams. Like, well, no, you have to because you're broke. But it doesn't mean deflate the dream entirely. So dreams are a lot harder to keep. It's so much easier to just go, it probably won't work. It probably, percentage-wise, it probably won't. But can you just hand it the fucking script? Like, Jesus Christ. Like, yeah, sorry about that. Just imagine a boss being like, I can't fucking deal with this thing. Write the script. I know Frodo's probably going to get raped to death by an orc. Can you write one outcome where he's somehow man? All right, okay, he gets there and he throws the ring in. Okay, there you print. Like, I don't know. Yeah.
It's true though. But that's what makes the dream go from vision into reality. Is like on some level you have to understand all the consequences you're up to so that you can figure out the path forward on so many levels. You know, and I on some level I wholeheartedly agree with everything you're saying. Like the ephemeralness of the dream and trying to translate it into vision it's alchemy, man. And it, you know, if I shift gears for a minute, you talk to like a lot of intelligence guys. Like you have been around that circuit for a long time. I know you talked to Diego from Warrior Side. Shout out to Warrior Side, great company. And you have all these people that you get to really pick their brains on how things happen. And one of the things I've picked up from some of your podcasts is that intelligence guys, they always say like you need two weapons, ruthless clarity and unwavering loyalty. Which one do you think would be harder for you to hold on to when the bullets start flying?
Ruthless clarity or unwavering loyalty? When bullets start flying, you mean like as like metaphorically for the show?
Yeah, like, however you want to take it, man. I mean, for the show or for up to you, man.
When life throws you challenges, which ones can you hold on to? Which one's harder? Clarity. Because you can fall back on loyalty. You can go, it's the same thing. It's going, I don't know how it's going to. Clarity is, I can't see how the thing works.
Right.
Loyalty is going, but I'll write the script because the boss is asking for it. Okay. The podcast somehow grows. I'm at 50,000 subscribers. Can it grow 10x? It absolutely can. Could you go from making 500 a month to 5,000 a month? You absolutely could. Yeah, I see that. And what's loyal? Get up, go to the gym, do the show. Be on time, do the show. Okay. Do I see how it works? Not like in my bones. How do I want it to work? I'd like for it to make a ton of money. I'd like to find a girlfriend. I'd like to have a wife. I'd like to get a dog. I'd like to not always be freaked out about the next month's rent. I know that financial implications or stresses never go away, but I'd be a little more happy if I just knew it was like, I have some savings. That's the clarity that I can see during meditation or prayer. The loyalty is even on days I don't see it. Like sometimes I'll wake up and sometimes it feels like I'm in the passenger seat. If I'm just like exhausted or like it just seems like the show is not working, I'll wake up and almost feel like I get out of the driver's seat, sit in the passenger seat, and I just kind of like tell my like core operating system and it's almost dissociation. Like I'll just get up and like watch myself go to the gym and I'm like, I don't fucking want to, I'll just be like, stop thinking, do the show, turn it on, do the talk, finish it, thumbnail, audio, upload it, do the description. And at the end of the day, I'll be like, now you can get back in the driver's seat. And I'll be like, fuck. But that's like muscle memory.
Yeah.
That's much harder to, the loyalty is much easier to hold on to because you just build it into your system. You just nail it the fuck down, weld it on, and you're like, this is the thing. You don't have to. So once you've done that, you kind of don't have to have clarity. It helps.
Right.
Objectively, it helps. It helps when you start to believe it can work. You go, oh my God, this can happen. You feel lighter. You feel more energetic. But if it really doesn't feel like it's working, you just step on over the passenger seat, put it in autopilot, and you're like, this thing's going to drive us to the destination. Even if bombs start going off, tires blow out, it will drive until we're dead. Like, I've coded it to do that. So, yeah, no, clarity is a lot harder to. That's it, because in a way that's just a different angle on the previous question. It's which one's easier to hold on to, the dream or the doubt. The doubt, you could say, is loyalty. Is you go, that's the thing you build into your system. Don't listen to the doubts. Don't listen to the fatigue. The clarity is the same thing as the dream. Which one can you keep floating above you? Which one can you keep? You're like pumping up a balloon that has like a hole in it. You have to keep pumping it. Like, it's harder to keep it there, but you can do it.
Yeah, it's well said. You know, one of the other things I really admire about your podcast is there's such a variety of guests and such a variety of topics. And like, I love the way that you push back on people as well. You know, we live in this incredible time right now, and I'm not sure if people thoroughly understand the changes that are happening in the big picture. Like, you talk to so many people. What in your view, Tommy, with all the people you talk to and your personal experience, what do you think that the future of this country is happening right now? Is it a rebirth, or is it a tragedy? What are your thoughts on what's happening in the state of the US right now, or the world?
It's kind of an extrapolation of, to me, my own experience with the podcast of going, I don't know what the next year holds. I think last summer, that bullet missing his ear has truly made me believe, like, in the same way, every once in a while something will happen with the podcast where just freak occurrence. I'll meet someone and it's the exact person where I'll just kind of step back and I'll be like, this is like the badly written script. Somebody's like, can you write an outcome where Tommy wins? I don't give a fuck if it's believable. Turn it in. Okay, every once in a while something will happen. I'll be like, what the I'll be like, that's poor writing. I'll just meet someone who'll be like, hey, I like your show. By the way, do you want to meet my friend Roseanne Barr? I'll be like, who the fuck? Like, who the fuck? What? And I'll just be like, man, fuck this. But like, I don't know. So every once in a while you'll have this, and that's what allows the clarity return. That's what allows the belief to return. So every once in a while, like, wild things happen, and you're like, oh, we are in a casino. Like, there's a lot of downs. Like, you can win big. I think seeing that last summer has made me. I'm like, no, there are like forces, working that I think are beyond our comprehension, both good and bad. Like, beyond, like, I mean, is it spiritual? Is it conscious? Is it some weird, Gaia feedback system on like the quantum level? Is it intentional? Is it God? Is it Satan? Is it alien? Like, but there are like forces, I think, that are at work that are almost we're unable to comprehend. And you might say, well, I don't want the woo-woo answer. Well, then I would say, like, all right, well, then we saw last summer that probability sometimes doesn't matter. We do live in a world where sometimes it's just, what the fuck was that? So to answer, where are we going? I think we have, like, what I feel every year when I somehow manage to make enough money to keep the show going for another year. I just always tell myself, some basketball coach said it during March Madness, like 20 years ago, where, March Madness is 64 teams, 32, 16, 8, 4, 2, 1. You lose, you're out. You win, you go forward. It's just that. And when they're like, what are you doing next week? And he was like, survive and advance. Survive and advance. He's like, but your main guy's injured. He's like, yeah, but we won today. Next week we have to win again. That's a lot how I use the podcast. Not a lot. That is exactly how I look at the podcast. Where I go, well, that was an ugly win. And I go, but it was a win. We're still in. Keep going. But I don't fucking care. Wrap up your ankle. We've somehow keep going. I don't care if you have to smoke meth next game. We're going to keep going. And I think that's how I kind of look at the country right now. It's like, yeah, we probably shouldn't have won last year. That was probably a fluke win. But we won. Keep going. So what do we do with that? I don't know. We're going to keep going. And I hope it's like the podcast where I go, I don't know, man. But, every year it seems to keep working. But there does kind of seem to be, for like lack of a better phrase, like the indomitable human spirit. Like there does
Yeah.
seem to be something where it's like, oh, we're that picture, like hold fist up. It's like that a millimeter the other way, we're probably in some form of like a prolonged civil war, if not world war. But we're not. We're just here. So like, I don't know. I'm hopeful though, because it's. And here's the other thing with the clarity and loyalty and blah 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 blah. Ultimately, when it comes down to like handing in the script, I'll also tell myself, or I'll be like the same frustrated boss. Like I get you don't believe it, but you can just hand in the script that where it works. I tell myself, I'm like, I get all the negatives and how it probably won't work, but that's not exciting. Like I'm biased in that I want the show to work. I want to make money so I can live a longer, better life and have a family. That's all well and good. But regardless if it was me, regardless if this is happening to me or if I'm just reading a story about a podcaster 100 years ago, I want the thing that's more exciting. Like regardless of good or bad, regardless of personal interest, like which one's not exciting? Well, it's realistic. Well, what is it? It's like Escape from Tarkov is a video game I'm playing, and it's all right, but it's so realistic. Like a spring in your gun can fuck up and you have to go like find a new spring. I'm like, I don't want that. I like a reasonably. I don't like total arcade where you're running around with like rocket launchers. But like if I do like it when it's like you get shot and it's like your health is down 10 and like that's it. Instead of like your left tibia is fractured. I'm like, I don't fucking and it's like it's realistic. I'm like, I get it's realistic, but I'm not playing a game to be realistic. I'm playing a fucking game. I want a decent amount of like, oh, the bullet drop in the windage. I'm like, I'm not a sniper. Just got like it's 9 p.m. on a Tuesday. I'm so tired. I just want to run around shooting. I'll tell myself, I'll be like, which is the more exciting one? Like, so yes, I think we can all agree the bad one is where the globalist psychopathic cabal takes over the world and either thermonuclear destruction or a global prison state. That's bad. It's also not exciting, regardless of like us. Well, yeah, we're very biased. We live now. Forget that we're alive now. Pretend we're just watching Earth. It's not, 1984 came true. Okay, what a boring. Oh my God, yeah, the top-down control system and there's no freedom. How quickly are you clicking out of that movie? You're like, yeah, I get it. No, you want to see the fucking like, no, like this happened and then that happened and then it somehow spun into this and and then we fucking went to Mars. Like, aside from being like what I want, it's also more interesting. Like I don't. The bad guys win. Yeah, I mean, like it's okay, cool, but it's gay and stupid. I want to see something like no. Trump somehow survived, and now Elon Musk is like people are like firebombing his cars, but he's using AI to like cut the propaganda machine of the U.S. government. You're like, what the fuck? Like that's something where you're like, I'll watch the next episode. Sure, like what is like it's. So I'm biased in that it's what I want, but it's also like it's what I would watch. I'm like, oh, this is all right. What happened? And then this happened. That's fucking wild. Like, and then what? And then what? Like, that's what I want to see. I don't know where I was going with that. I don't even know what the question was.
Yeah, no, it's beautiful. I agree on so many levels. It seems when I look through the lens of the world of George Monty, like I see an incredible rebellion brewing, but it may not be the rebellion that we see on Netflix. It's more of like an inner rebellion. And I see it with you. I see it with people like Clint Kyles and all these people doing their own media channels. On some level, the individual has the tools today to do what a multinational brand had 10 years ago. And it's incredible to see the direction each individual is taking it. And in doing so, I feel like each individual is sort of becoming the best version of themselves. And that's what gets us out of this chaotic world of top-down authority is like, look at all these people taking their power back for themselves, getting on the mic, whether it's a studio above your garage or in a third room or wherever it is. Each individual is beginning to remember what power is and how much they have of it. And the hard part is they have forgotten how much they've given away. Like, you don't really know how much power you have until you lose everything. And I think you've seen that before. Like, this idea of, what are you willing to lose? Because you have to lose. You have to give up everything if you want something new to grow back. And that's so hard if you've been at a job for 25 or 30 years, or you're part of this school board or the school system getting shut down. It's really easy to look at that and be like, I'm going to lose everything. But the answer to that is congratulations. Now you're in a position to build something meaningful that's uniquely yours if you're willing to take the chance to do it. And I see it happen all around the world, not just in the US, but from the yellow vest in France to the Middle East uprising. It's like, it's happening all over the world. People are beginning to take their power back. And I think a big part of what we're seeing is a push from the top down. Like, hey, these guys are getting a little out of control over it. They're getting a little uppity. These guys thinking they can run stuff. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, you do have to. It's also kind of the catch-22 of, like, the more you take away from people, the more they realize they're fucked, and they're like, what? It's,
yeah.
Like, if you have a ton to lose, chances are you're not going to risk it. And it's like, that's not even necessarily a bad thing. Like, for what we're talking about, no, I agree entirely. Like, you do have to lose and be shunned and be destroyed, and it allows you to kind of create this. You're like, well, I'm fucked that anyway, and everyone hates me.
Right?
Like, what do I, like, I'm dead broke. Like, what do I want? Like, imagine if you're just like a homeless guy in the street and you have like a piece of paper and you're drawing. Like, do you give a, like, what are you going to, you're going to draw truly whatever you want. Like, I haven't showered in a month. Everyone fucking hates me. People call the cops on me if I walk. Like, yeah, I don't care if people don't like my drawing of a dragon. You know, like, but before that, it's like, it's also like a natural feedback system. Like, you only start to do this shit, you only start to get wild and uppity when it's all been taken away and you're being threatened.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, so when people have comfy jobs, that means they're placated. I'm like, yeah, and it's not a bad thing. It's not
right.
Placation isn't just like the edgy, it's the opiate of the masses. No, I get in a lot of ways it's bad. You're scrolling Netflix, you're just jerking off, like, you're not doing anything. Like, I get that, where that is a sedation. But it's also kind of the sign of, like, a moderately well operating society. It's like, well, no one did this in the 50s. It's like, well, you could also just graduate high school and go work at the Ford plant and provide for a family. They didn't have a reason to protest because their lives were good. That's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
You could say it's opiate of the masses. No, it's a guy he's probably just an average dude. He's like, I got my wife, got the kids, car, go camping on the weekend. Hey, I'm not going to riot against Eisenhower. It's not a bad thing. It's bad when everything is fucked and you're still sedating people with fentanyl or McDonald's or TikTok or whatever. But so in one sense, it's like a natural feedback system. It's like, well, how do we get the people to stop rioting? You can do brutal force, which never works. You can do like knickknacks and, phones and computer. That kind of works. What's like the best way to really quell shit? Fucking give everybody like a job. Really, just like what's the evil master plan for Trump to, reduce pushback? I'm gonna make sure everyone makes $80,000 a year and can afford health insurance. Bum bum bum. Like, huh? If that's how you get most people to shut up, I would take that in a fucking heartbeat. I would take $80,000 a year. You want me to stop fucking questioning our involvement in Ukraine? Like, no, I wouldn't do that.
I know you wouldn't.
I know. I was just thinking, I'm like, that's horseshit. Like, to stop saying, I don't know, like the word faggot. I'm like, yeah, I'll give $80,000. Sure. Like, sure. What do I? Right? I say because it's like I just like to poke the button. I'll stop saying retard for $80,000. Yeah, I don't. There's no like moral stance on that. I don't fuck give me the money. But like, so for that, and then there's also the sort of like desperation though. It's also like, yeah, a lot of people, they're gonna start swinging for the fences when there is nothing else to lose. They don't have any money. They give every penny away. Like Department of Homeland Security, like FEMA is like purposely, remember those leaked texts, like purposely skipping houses with MAGA flags. Then on like the day of Hurricane Helene, Blinken comes out and announces we're building a railroad in Sierra Leone. When you start to see that, and it's not even some abstract, like the government doesn't care about you. It is like people, it's like National Guard preventing people bringing in dried food. When it is just in your, I'm hungry, house is destroyed. Hey, Tom, I got a blanket and some water, and a guy with a gun stands in between you two. There's really no room for interpretation. And that's why you have people kind of just going wild. And one way you can do it is like, well, you know, it used to be to go wild. It was like, it was a big commitment. It meant you grabbed a gun and you went and you did something. And it's either it's a mass shooting or you went to assassinate. You don't have to do that to go wild. What you can do is kind of say a no. You're like, man, fuck these restrictions. Why are we giving these shots to babies that give them heart attacks? People are like, oh, you're questioning it. And you're like, yeah, I don't give a fuck, man. I don't care. Because what did I have? Why wouldn't I have said that before? Because I really like my job. And yeah, I don't agree with all like the crazy liberal chicks at the office. But you know what? 9 to 5, got dental insurance, whatever. But as that starts to get stripped away, and as you no longer have to grab an AK, you can go, no, you know what? I think it's kind of horse shit. We know these companies. We know that Pfizer and Purdue and the Sackler family, we know they paid out the biggest fine ever. How long ago was that? 2009. Oh, it wasn't back in the 20s? No, it was 16 fucking years ago. $2.3 billion for lying about Oxycontin and then Suboxone. We know that. And now they're doing this. And a lot of people, no one can lie about it anymore. Everyone knows. Why did that celebrity die? What's the one thing you can't say? Oh, that 28-year-old passed away in her sleep. Well, I think you're being hateful. You're like, shut the fuck up, bitch. Like, no, this is, and as people do that, and as you can do that, because we're all interconnected with all these devices, it's a two-way road. The very thing you need for the totalitarian control is also methods by which you can talk back. So there's never a one-sided sword. The ability to have a panopticon in every human in the world also opens the door for they can, and it's limited and you can throttle them, but it makes it a dialogue. 50 years ago, it was a monologue. You got your 6 news stations and, you know, the presidential briefing. And you could disagree with it, but there's really not much more you could do in 1970, right? Maybe you go to your pub. Maybe you start becoming like start going on a speaking circuit. But even then, you have to become like Jimi Hendrix to get your voice out. And by then, they were pretty good at COINTELPRO and knocking that shit down. And they dreamed of the ability to surveil everyone in their homes all the time. But then there's the pushback of like, well, fuck, the thing we're using to surveil everyone, they're also all talking to each other now. They're sending each other VAERS reports. Like Barbara from Atlanta is posting graphs about myocarditis incidents. Fuck, like it is. So it's like the thing they're using to control us is also, it's lopsided. I'd say it's mostly good. It's used for control. It's not like it's not an even street. But as you get that, it does. It's like the other thing. It's like you no longer, if you wanted to get a point out in 1940 and no one was listening to you, you pretty much had to like build a bomb. And even then, it's no one cares about your manifesto because they go, hey, he blew up a cafe. And most people are like, yeah, fuck that guy. But now, I mean, even 20 years ago, you had to be Snowden or you had to be Assange. And you leak this shit. And then it's like, yeah, they left the country and the CIA is hunting them down. It was a pretty big, like, yeah, I might just stay in line. But as they increase the number and the ferocity of which they attack people, and then as the attacks come through, like, well, Assange leaked a video of some civilian casualties or deaths in Iraq, and that's not good, but it's, it's 2006 and I work in Boston. Like, what does that really do to me? I mean, realistically, what does it do to you? It's a cop out, but no, you're right. It does nothing to you. When it's now like, no, put this needle in your arm. Well, aren't some people dying? Put the needle in your arm. Now you're like, it's no longer this grainy video from Iraq that was leaked. It's no longer Snowden being like, the NSA spies on you. It's like, oh, yeah, I don't really feel good about that. And I go, man, they at work, they try to give me this thing, and I'm just not sure about it. Your post has been removed for hate speech. Fuck. How do I? Oh, I'm cornered. And I don't know if that thing's going to kill me. It most likely won't. But I don't know, man. I'm not. You take that thing every time you have the slightest chest tightness for the rest of your life. If you have chest tightness 5 years ago in your 20s, you had allergies. Get into 40s and 50s, you're like, I should maybe go get an EKG. Now, I've had friends say, like, every time I get like the slightest, I freak the fuck out because I got it. So as you're pushing people over the edge, it's no longer, it's over there. It's like it's back home, and then it gets even more intense. You're like, or whatever. I took the shot. I'll shut up, and it's like, all right. Well, by the way, they're taking the kids on a field trip today. They're going to see Jack, the beautiful woman with tits and a cock, and you're like, wait. So you go to home and school meeting, and then the FBI shows up, and now you're going. That's my kid, man. That's my fucking kid. And you go online and you go, okay, I get where you're not allowed to talk about the COVID, whatever. That was national security, and I get it. That's my kid, and it is flagged for hate speech. Well, now you have people going, if I can't defend my kid, what am I? And if I can't get away with using a microphone, maybe I will go locked and loaded. And that's a dark outcome, but you're pushing people to that edge. And so a lot of people would rather not do that, and you shouldn't do that because it doesn't accomplish anything. But that's where you get more and more people talking out. Or that's why Rumble is growing. It's like Rumble isn't as good as YouTube. The UI isn't as good. It's like, yeah, but it does have one magic trick. What? You're allowed to say whatever you want. Like, not even like call for bombings. No, you're allowed to say, yeah, I didn't get the COVID vaccine. And then just go on about you're allowed to leave that comment and then just go to the next video. There's a reason. Hasn't Twitter grown like 80% in terms of traffic? I wonder why. Does it do something really good? Yeah, I'm from a different planet. Could you tell me real quick about what is it? Do they offer like 8K video in real time and virtual reality goggles? And what is it about? Oh, you can write text. Like an email? Yeah, like a 1990s email. Like in America Online? Yeah, it's kind of like AOL. Why is it so big? Because that's kind of all people want is just to be able to talk. What about so Facebook's metaverse must really be taken off, right? That virtual now, absolute boondoggle. A lot of people got fired. I'm sure probably some of them were killed. Like, And Twitter it's 140 characters. It's actually quantifiably less capable than AOL. You can write whatever. There's a limit. AOL didn't have a limit. Oh, damn. So it's like it's the natural feedback system. So, but I guess it makes sense. It's either a last hurrah or it will work and we'll sidestep this and humanity will go marching on. Back to the doubts thing. Whenever you have a doubt about the future of humanity, you can say, the water's right here. Well, it's gotten this far through crazy shit. They killed Jesus, bubonic plague, wildfires. They thought the world was flat, and then they went to the edge and like, Jesus, what is this? Like, we've invented nukes, somehow have gotten away with it. Like, we keep going. So it is written in that, like, we will keep going. So it might be that this is just, if you could look at it with a supercomputer, it might just say, like, this happens over the millennia, where it gets to a breaking point. People realize it's at a breaking point, and there's nothing to lose. So they all start acting up, and sometimes it turns into centuries of turmoil, or sometimes it's just a quick Trump won. But it just keeps moving forward. So, I mean, is it a bright future? I don't know. I'm a lot more optimistic than last year. Now I look at it, I'm like, oh, this thing actually might keep going. I don't know though. I don't know.
Man, it's really well said, man. It's a great answer. You know what? Both you and I have faced our fair share of tragedies in our family. You know, I've lost my son, you've lost your brother, my wife has cancer, and so many Americans and people, just people around the world are facing these things. And there's a question that I ask myself sometimes, and I set it up to ask you a similar question. So if your brother could sit across from you right now, no time, no distance between you, and he asked you not, what are you fighting against, but what are you building? What would you tell him?
It's kind of intertwined. I would like for the successive generation, or even if not people after me, people parallel to me, the same age as me, to not have to go through the same traumas I did. And I don't mean challenges. I think challenges are good for you. I think they're very good for you. I would never want to like, hey, you grew up in a palace. I'm like, you're so fucked. You know, like, it's good to just basic shit. It's good to just have a bad day. But some things I look at and I go, I've made the most out of them, but they are not beneficial. In a vacuum, they're not beneficial. My own, like, I decided not to go to med school and like said thank you, but no thank you, like a month before I lost my brother. So I already made that huge choice of like, I'm going to go down this path. Now I have made the most out of losing a brother. And like I said, I want to open a med school named after him and I want to blah, blah, blah. And you could, I mean, who knows? And maybe it's 11 years ago, but it might be something where in 50 years I go, oh no, it was good that happened. I don't know. Maybe I'm not, it could be that I'm not wise enough. But what am I building and not fighting against, but what am I building for? I personally have, I have over the last couple of years, multiple occasions, like gone to the hospital for panic attacks. Everyone has anxiety. I have anxiety every day, but truly feel like I'm fucking dying. Last January, I actually admitted myself to an inpatient, psych facility because I was going through withdrawals from gabapentin, which I had been on for anxiety, and it was so bad it was like warping my reality. I felt like I was going fucking insane. I felt like I was getting like possessed by. It was fear on a level I can't put into words. And luckily, I was able to go to this thing. And they just look after you through it. It's rehab. It's just 10 days. And then I left and feeling a little humbled. But then it was over. I've been sober since then. That should be like the default go-to. Like when you feel that level of horror overcoming you, where you're actually going, should I kill myself? This is so bad. To instead, it would, 80 years ago, I don't think there's anything you could have done. They would have been like, he's possessed, or they would have given you a lobotomy and destroyed your life. I would like to work for something to where that subjective horror of anxiety or suicidal thoughts is as treatable as a broken bone or a gunshot wound. Meaning, it's still fucked, but, like sometimes when I'd be in the like emergency room for like a panic attack, it'd be like 1 a.m. and you'd see someone come in, like drunk chicks or something taking an Uber, and one of their hands is fucked up and they're bleeding, and in that moment you go, if that was 200 years ago, you're dead. That's infected, you're fucking dead. A couple hours from now, sepsis, you're done. So they bring you in there immediately. They hit you with a pen of light morphine dose. Okay, we got to set your wrist, and then everyone remembers in middle school or high school, you the friend with like the neon cast, like, yeah, we were playing football, and that's normally like life ending, and it's still a bitch to go through, like getting my tonsils out. It's still like a month of just unbearable pain. But they went into my throat and removed parts of my tissue, and it wasn't the Catholic Inquisition torturing me. It's something that I paid for, right? That's what I would like to build or help build. Because there are still things where, as advanced as medicine is, when you have what's the number 22, 23 veteran suicide, veteran, not everybody else, but just veterans. I can't guarantee those people employment. I can't guarantee a sex life or fulfillment. But in the same way that if I broke my arm today, I could go to the ER and they'd fix it. And it'd be a bitch to deal with for maybe a couple months, be out of the gym. Sure. But there's no like, oh my God, it's over. Oh my God, I better like get out a parchment and pen and write goodbye to my parents. Like my arm's broken. But for a lot of human history, that is what was reality. So instead of fighting or running from or fighting against, which is how do I deal with the traumas of suicide, was I there, what, blah, blah, all that, I would instead like to say, no, I want to build something where, and why do I want to do that? Do I think that's going to lead to utopia? No, it'll be one tiny thing, just like paved roads or incandescent light bulbs or, all these little things you do to make life just a little bit better. I would like for it to be something that people don't even have to be grateful for. I don't even mean it in some like people go and they're like, oh, thank God. I would like for it to be as routine as going and getting penicillin. Like, I don't even want my name attached to it. There's no like, and then I want to, no, I don't give a fuck. You can name it the fucking, like the Ralph shitfuck medical school. I don't care. It should be something where in 100 years, our kids and their parents don't even remember because they grew up with it. Oh, you're doing the anxiety. No, we'll take you in. You go in, you get scanned for. Yeah, no, you have the anxiety neural wiring. Yeah, no, they go and do this thing. It's kind of get your tonsils out. You're gonna be in bed for like a week. Get a lot of ice cream. It should be something you don't even think about. That's what I want. So you can go and deal with all of the other challenges in life. Like life is challenging enough. It's good to be like, oh yeah, I got to finish my Z-Pack. I got a chest thing. It's not like, oh, thank you, respiratory God. Like, I don't even want all that dramatic romantic bullshit. I want the loss of someone to suicide to be as unrelatable as your friend dying because they put too many leeches on them to bleed the spirits out. Like that shouldn't even be a thing. About that because you're like, we learned about that in social studies. That's what I wanted. Like, so to me, it's like, that's what I want. There's not, for me personally, it will be like a beautiful thing of like, I did that. I named it after my brother. I'll enjoy that. My immediate family will enjoy that. And that will be therapeutic for us. But for most people, I mean, who invented the microphone you're using? We're both wearing glasses. Do you know who invented glasses? I don't even know. I have no idea. Ben Franklin wore them. I don't think he invented them. But you know how great it is to be like, I can't see. I can. So now I got my lives of like, now I can see the horror of my own life in better vision. Like, so like, that's what I want it to be. I want to facilitate something that makes life easier to the point where you don't even realize there's something that made it easier. It's like when the Secret Service does their job, you don't even know they're there. You hear about big shit like a shot fired. They don't publicize every little security breach. If you don't hear anything, they're doing the job. They're doing it very quietly. That's good. That's fucking good. That's what I want. To add something to the world. I want this exact exchange to happen in 100 years. Like, who invented what's the thing you go in for when you're little, the anxiety? Oh yeah, I know that. Like, they do like a preemptive like electromagnetic zap, and it helps avoid the neural patterns that lead to suicidal. It's what was his face? I don't fucking remember. Yeah, man, can you imagine being alive back then? Fuck that, bro. Like, that's all it should be. I don't want any like, I don't want it on my name. There's no ego. Like, that's what I want. And then they will have some present thing. And they'll be like, one day, I don't want people to even know about how annoying it is to get Mars dust off your spacesuit. Like, that's what it should be. So that's what I would say is like, that. Just better to the point that I want to be old and go, you kids don't know, you're so ungrateful. That's how I know I will have made it. Is if I'm angry at them for not being grateful. That means life is advanced and everyone's life is better. If I'm a grumpy old piece of shit, that means I did well.
I love it, man. It's a beautiful answer, man. We're coming up on this hour, man. But before we land the plane, where can people find you, man? What do you got coming up? What are you excited about?
Rumble, Tommy's podcast, Spotify, Tommy's podcast. I never schedule guests really past like a week out, and I never have any notes for every show. So when people ask me like, "What's coming?" I'm like, no idea. Truly have no idea. I have no fucking idea. I'm gonna ask you, what are you dreaming about tonight? I don't know. If I could control that, I would. I have no idea what's coming. You have as good of an idea. I have no fucking idea what's coming. Terror, pure horror, unfathomable darkness and misery, followed by brief miracles, or just Tommy's podcast on Rumble. I don't know.
Ladies and gentlemen, go down to the show notes. Check out Tommy's podcast, man. He's coming up on 1,800 episodes and a lot of great content out there. Hope everybody enjoyed it. Tommy, hang on briefly afterwards, but to everybody else, hope you have a beautiful day. And thanks for joining us. Aloha.